So I see you as a big fan of like the mixtape era in New York back in the day.
Right.
And you wanted to implement what New York was doing in Miami to give the artists like a spotlight in Miami. Because you was hearing the DJ Clue and everybody in New York. You wanted to do your own thing in Miami, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. We have this conversation on Drink Champs a lot where Nori, he's kind of switched it where he's saying, he's joking. He's like, oh, you hating on New York. But what it was is that New York is the mecca of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? The birthplace of hip hop. Anybody that was into hip hop, you know, it was, you know, you looked up to New York, all regions of the country. And the thing is that what we talk about a lot is that the industry was also in New York. So the industry kind of was being gatekeepers and wasn't allowing anything that didn't really sound and look like New York at the time come in. And so, but, you know, like for someone like me, just growing up a hip hop kid in Miami, you know, again, like I said, we're looking up to everything New York, but I like, because I come from LA also, I have all these different tastes. I had the West Coast taste. I just liked hip hop, man. So it didn't matter where it came from, as long as it was dope to me. As long as the beats were hitting, as long as the lyrics were there, I didn't care where it came from. But of course, most of our stuff that we really were into was coming out of New York at the time. So the mixtapes was what brought us all the underground shit that we couldn't hear anywhere else. The radio out here didn't play hip hop. We didn't have mix shows. So it was the mixtapes. And then that's what I was like, all right, I saw a lane for me as a DJ that nobody was really tapping into here consistently in Miami. And that's what I took on.
Nice. Did you get a lot of support from the local artists in Miami? From the artists in Miami?
I mean, and this goes for any city. Like, the haters are going to be your own city at first. You know, no one's going to really support. And the thing is, we had so many people from New York in Miami that it was even a term like hip hop heads weren't even called hip hop heads. You were called New Yorkers. So if you dressed a certain way and you listened to certain kind of rap music, you were called a New Yorker. So the New Yorkers sort of say, they were always just like, you know, you from Miami, or you doing Miami. Like if you rep Miami, it wasn't cool at the time. And so the goal of myself and my crew was like, we want to bring the same type of vibe, the same consistency that these mixtapes and these crews in New York or anywhere else, you know, for that matter, because Atlanta was popping, the West Coast was popping, but we want to do it repping Miami. So we would always put Miami, you know, like the turn, like we was like repping the city on our sleeve. And in the hip hop scene at the time in Miami, which was actually pretty small, you know, we're talking about early 90s when hip hop heads were hip hop heads. And it was like almost like the goth kids. You had the hip hop kids, you know, like we were a few thousand in the whole city that would see each other at all the events. Like Zulu Nation would throw park jams, or we would go to a Redman show. The first time Redman came here, Biggie, like we'd all see each other. And for the most part, most of these people were repping New York. So they didn't really support anybody really repping Miami at the time.
Got you. So that's what you was there for, and that's what you was doing. Right. And I give you your flowers too, because you got best DJ 2 years in a row, correct?
Well, at the mixtape awards that Justo did, rest in peace to Justo, I got best new mixtape DJ, which is crazy because I had been making mixtapes for almost 10 years at that point.
Yeah,
but you know,
crazy.
but nonetheless, you know, this is in New York. You know, Justo, the mixtape awards was big. So I was, you know, prior to them, I was cracking in, you know, I was getting in. So I was new. So yeah, and it was an honor, man. It was the same year that they gave 50 his award when he was big on doing the mixtapes.
So that was a good year.
I was at that award. It was mad shit. Something popped off. I remember there was beef at that award. So I mean, it was hip hop. It was some hip hop shit, you know.
I think that was like the Murder Inc. beef back in the day.
I think something popped off at that awards that I don't remember what happened, but I have that award. You know, and it's a hood ass award. I remember Justo gave it to me. It felt like he made it in his crib. You know what I'm saying? But that's my favorite award, and I have it downstairs in my studio here. And then I got best mixtape DJ here in Miami, an award here, and I got a couple awards and plaques over the years for sure.